It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is What Made the Cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
And the cut brought to you by Doug Smith Dealerships, the Chevy, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Subaru, Kia, and now the Mitsubishi is into the family of the Doug Smith dealerships in American Fork, Spanish Fork, and in Linden. Go check it out for yourself. Adrian Denny, Utah Hockey Club pre- and post-game host, right here on the program with you. Adrian, that was a rough one last night, man. We got this thing going, and when the hopes are high, you're on national TV and things start going, you go, oh, man, I'm excited about this one. And it got started early, and it did not stop throughout the entire thing. Welcome to the program.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. It was one of those nights, wasn't it? And it just kind of got out of hand in a hurry. Utah drew the first power play. They're on the power play. Less than 30 seconds later, Edmonton scores a shorthanded goal, and things kind of unraveled from there. But we talked about it pregame on Hockey Night in Utah with Dominic Moore, and he just kept going back to, I just need to see emotionally what kind of spot they're in tonight, because that game in Vancouver on Sunday, that was game played to perfection, perfect emotion, and what's it going to be like 48 hours later wrapping up a trip as Edmonton returns home to start a homestand after they finished a road trip strong?
Adrian, the games are under a microscope right now. Look, games like last night happen all the time in the NHL, and it goes the other way too. We remember the 6-0 win that Utah Hockey Club had over the Golden Knights earlier in the year, and so these kind of nights happen. I think it's just magnified because of what's at stake. And what also happened last night is Calgary wins, St. Louis wins, and everybody's winning while they're losing. Isn't it fun, though, to be a part of this and see that this team is in the mix and every game matters like this? And it's a great introduction to fans here in Utah of what an NHL playoff race is like.
Yeah, it's outstanding, and as you said, the expectations are high, and you love it. A first-year team in Salt Lake City in the NHL, and we have a chance to make the playoffs, and we're doing what Bill Armstrong has told us was the goal all along, and that's to play meaningful games going down the stretch. And so you lose a game like that, and it was a game where if you win and everything else goes your way, which it went the exact opposite, and we lost. So instead of being tied for that playoff spot, we're 4 points back and 14 games left, as you guys said. I look at the other schedules, Calgary, St. Louis, Vancouver, even Edmonton. This month, they have all had games like that. Calgary, the latest. They lost 6-2 in Toronto on Monday, and it looked exactly like Utah last night. And then last night, they went into Madison Square Garden, fell down 1-0 in the first 90 seconds of the game, and won the game 2-1. So everybody has had a game like that, and it's funny in the NHL when you think you got everything figured out, you got to go back to the drawing board. And for Utah, going from that Seattle game, which is tough, 2-2 in the third, to playing the perfect game of the year on Sunday, to this game in Edmonton last night. Now, as Sean Dursey said last night after the game, sun's going to come up today. It did, and Buffalo Sabres are next on the docket.
Adrian, one of the things that we've watched with this team is, and especially recently, Bear's been talking about how resilient they are and having these moments where they've been down, and they've been down, it seems like a lot. This one was one that just seemed like it was, it was too much to overcome. And he talked about how Veggie, it was almost like, hey, it's not his fault, man. We did not do enough to be able to keep these guys out of our zone. It seemed like everybody from a statistical standpoint just had an awful night. And people tend to look at the goalies on these types of things, but how much does that affect, when no one's on the same page, or when a team like Edmonton is firing on all cylinders? And, of course, this is the team who was, one win away last year from being the Stanley Cup champions. But so they're very, very good, and they have the three-time league MVP. But what is it about a game like that where things they do start to kind of fall apart? But obviously Veggie is a really, really good goalie, and so it's not just like, hey, you didn't stop these shots.
Yeah, and you've got Edmonton, all the skill, as you said, and 2 of the 3 goals in that first period were scored on breakaways, one shorthanded, one with, 4 seconds left to go in the period, and then one as a power play expired when they had their best players out on the ice, and McBain hadn't joined the action yet from coming out of the penalty box. So it was really a power play goal. So nothing Vejmelka could do about him. Obviously, not high percentage situations for the goalie to be in. And as I looked at the box score last night, usually you see, that line right there. They were on the ice for 4 of the 6 goals against. That D pairing, they were on the ice for 5 of them. It was down the board even last night. Everybody was on the ice for an equal amount of goals against. If that just doesn't say as much as it just was an off night for everybody.
So the team flushes what happened last night, and I think it's going to be easy for them to do that. That's not who they are. That's not who they've been all season. And now they move forward, and you can start something fresh and new here. They're going to be home. You're playing the Sabres. The Sabres aren't good. And I know we talked about Seattle on Friday, and that didn't go well either. But, Adrian, this is a chance for this team to rebound really well and get going here because time's running out. Yeah,
and as disappointed as you are to go from 2 points out to 4 points out, Sunday we're going from 4 points out to 2 points out and on our way to Edmonton. So that script can flip just as opposite as it flipped last night, going from 2 to 4 out by beating Buffalo tomorrow. Calgary and Vancouver are on 2 really tough road trips to the East Coast right now. Calgary has 2 games left on that trip. Vancouver has 6. They start it in St. Louis tomorrow. So those teams have some tough games. St. Louis is the one team that really is what I'm looking at right now because their schedule has a lot of Nashville, a lot of Chicago, a lot of second to last place, a lot of last place in it, and they are hot and they're winning games. Utah has 1 game left against St. Louis. It's the last game of the year, but 14 games left, 8 of the 14 at home. You have a 3-game homestand, 3-game road trip, 5-game homestand, 3-game road trip to wrap it up, and you're starting to think, okay, what gets into the picture here, and it's just winning. I promised everybody on the air last night that the St. Louis Blues would have a 2-game losing streak before the season ends. So that's going to happen. So it's up to the guys on the Utah Hockey Club to just win. And you look at this team with their full roster, right? Getting Sean Durzi back, missed 52 straight games. Logan Cooley was out for a little bit. And when we got everybody back that Sunday, coming back for the Four Nations face-off break when they came back to beat Vancouver 2-1, that started to stretch right now. Last 11 games, Utah's 6-3-2 with a full roster. And you look at the game last night, getting Veggie out of there, to me, getting Veggie out of that game and losing 7-1, being down 3-0 in the first intermission, that's better than if you go down to the edge and lose at 4-3 in regulation because you got him out of that game. It was a compromising situation after situation to have him in, obviously. But you got him 2 periods of rest, and he's the guy going down the stretch. It's the NHL. He's your starting goalie. He's going to play every game. Utah has 2 back-to-backs left. So getting him those 2 periods off is hopefully something that we can look at when he steals a game in the last 4 weeks here and say, got him 2 periods off in that game against Edmonton that we were all freaked out about the next day. I was in the grocery store this morning and got heckled about the game last night. So that's it's great. It's
got
great
heckled.
It's great to be here.
Who heckled you and why?
It's the butcher at his local grocery store going after him.
Utah Hockey Club fan. Lost 7-1. It was 9 a.m. It was still fresh. So we love that. Love the expectations, and our players love being involved in this playoff chase, and they want to make the playoffs.
Adrian Denny, of course, he does your pre- and post-game show right there. The hockey night in Utah, the hockey afternoon in Utah, whatever it might be for different times of day. But obviously, Adrian, when this team is firing on all cylinders, they've had some they've had some awesome results after the Four Nations break, and they've been playing at a different level. There was something I was having a conversation with a friend last night where we're going back and forth about that game, how difficult it was, and he said it's tough every night to go out there to be asked to basically play, playoff hockey, which is what, Coach Bear has been talking about. It's like every night for us is a playoff game. That's a lot. That wears on you physically and mentally.
Yeah, and another thing that Bear points out a lot, which I think is great, because you go into the game and you don't win it. You're like, what did we screw up? What went wrong? And Bear will bring it to our attention that we were playing the Edmonton Oilers. They went to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup last year. The teams you're going up against, Colorado, Vegas, Winnipeg, Dallas, Vancouver, Calgary, like they're good teams too. And as you guys said at the top of the segment, Utah's beaten Vegas 6-0, had a couple of rollovers against Minnesota, and when you're not on your A game and a team is coming back home hot after being kind of just okay coming out of the Four Nations break, Edmonton's now won 3 games in a row. So just wasn't a perfect recipe, but the Oilers were ready to go, ready to pounce, ready to take advantage.
Adrian Denny, you can hear him, of course, right here on the dial, your radio home of the Utah Hockey Club, 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone. We appreciate you joining the program here, Adrian. We're looking forward to this last push here of these 15 games. At the very least, it's been a super fun season, and so it's been awesome to be able to hear you every time we're headed home and getting ready to listen to some hockey ourselves, to have you doing those pre-games and doing an awesome job, man. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Hey, yeah, thanks, JJ and Alex. I'm having a blast. Great to be on the show, and excited like you for this final month here.
There you go, Adrian Denny. You can tune in, of course. Basically every hockey night in Utah, whatever it might be, you can tune in here. Adrian's kicking things off. He wants to make sure you know, though, there's no actual betting going on. It's for entertainment purposes only.
I appreciate him doing that.
I feel like every time he says that, he's like someone's breathing down his neck. He's like, if you say this, if you say that we're having this little competition of how many goals are going to get scored on a night, and you're doing it with this idea that like DraftKings is a part of it, you will be toast.
Well, the
brother.
governor's listening.
Oh yeah, man. You got
to
make sure you're on the up and up. He does a phenomenal job. It's really good out of here from Adrian.